Hi, this is Norman Kochannek. I'm actually in an area of Sydney called Harris Park, which is near Parramatta, on a street that is cherished by the number of great Indian restaurants, Nepalese restaurants, a great mixture of restaurants that are here. We're currently in Billu's, one of the most famous restaurants here in Harris Park. Again, distinctly an Indian stronghold, and I'm having a cup of chai tea. And oh, look, I think that's Ankur. Hello, Ankur. How are you?
Hi Norman, how are you?
I'm very well.
Hello everyone.
So Ankur has come to join me. This, I think, is one of his local places. I think if you look carefully, he's very often hanging around here having coffee or dozas or something.
Of course, it's a mini India.
It's a minute. Well, it's a big India as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So we're here today to talk about. I went through the teams with you the other day, but I'm going to talk to you a bit about the actual grounds, which is of great interest to me. In specifics, there's one particular ground which is claimed to be the biggest stadium, certainly for cricket in the world, and that is in Ahmedabad, in the Gujarat region. And it's called Motera Stadium, but it's now called
Sardar Patel Stadium.
What's the name again?
Sardar Patel, one of the biggest icons of India post-independence and before independence as well. India's first Home Minister, biggest freedom fighter, one of the biggest names, from Gujarat, which is the state. So the new name is Sardar Patel Stadium. It's named after Sardar Patel.
What do we have? What's this?
Oh,
what
that's nice. Indian sweets.
Gulab jamun, my favourite. I love my gulab jamun. I'm going to have one while. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. While you're continue.
Try the buffet as well.
You can't eat when you're talking. You talk.
So it's too good.
That's okay.
So I think they named after Sardar Patel because of his, one of the biggest icons ever from Gujarat. And it's one of the biggest stadiums of the world, and now the biggest. It's got almost the capacity of 100,000 or something.
More than that.
Yeah, bigger than MCG or.
Well, it is now noted as the biggest stadium, first of all, in the world for cricket.
Yeah, of course, because India will be playing here for the first time as well, and it's going to be very interesting. Interesting in a way that you're playing in the biggest stadium without crowds. There will be no crowds, so that's another aspect of playing without crowds in such a big stadium. What do you reckon, Norman?
Well, I've actually heard that there's a possibility that there might be some crowd allowed. I'm hearing that.
We hope so. I definitely hope so.
I'm very much hoping so. So, as I was talking earlier, the full tour of India, of the English, they'll be leaving Sri Lanka, which is very interesting because they're leaving Sri Lanka after playing the second test against Sri Lanka, that is England, coming up this Friday. So they're literally going to be going into next week. They'll have no more than about a week, only a week to spend in a form of isolation, I'm not sure, when they hit India. And they'll be playing their first so-called full tour match on the 5th of February, and it'll go all the way through to March 28th. So it's quite a long tour. It's actually bordering on 6 to 8 weeks.
It's going to be very, very hectic for the English guys, especially coming up from Sri Lanka, then playing in India against India, and that too without much of a break in between. It's like back-to-back matches. I know they won't be traveling that much compared to before, but still, playing 4 test matches in a very short time going to be like pretty. As we saw against Australia as well, Indian team had a lot of issues with injuries and stuff. So it could be the same thing with the English squad as well, I believe.
Well, they've kept James Anderson and they've kept Jofra Archer, and I believe also Ben Stokes. They've kept them back. They're not playing at this stage in Sri Lanka, as far as I'm aware, so they're going to be fresh. Now let's look at the first test is on the 5th to the 9th of February in Chennai, and then the second test will follow shortly after on the 13th to 17th again in Chennai. And that's the squads which were announced are specifically for those 2 tests. Then the third test, they're moving to Ahmedabad on the 24th of February to the 28th, followed by another test, which will be the 4th test, directly after on the 4th to the 8th of March, again in Ahmedabad. So it'll be Chennai, and then Ahmedabad is the first 2 locations for that particular series. Then we move to a number of ODIs, and they'll be predominantly in Ahmedabad, and then there'll be a series of ODIs also in Pune. So again, there's a reciprocation between Ahmedabad and Pune for those matches. So there it is. It's quite an interesting combination. I'm hoping to be there. We're certainly I'm excited about Ahmedabad, if they're going to have any crowd at all. Well, I'll be around the stadium hopefully to take shots. and with the likes of Chennai before and Pune after. Some interesting locations. Not traditional locations, you would say? Mumbai would be normally a traditional location.
Yeah, we're missing out on the bigger cities, Mumbai and Delhi, but I think Chennai is one of the location India has played a lot as well. It's one of India's, I would say, it's kind of a fort, like it's Gabba for Australia. India haven't lost much in Chennai.
Hang on a minute. Gabba's not a fortress
Anymore.
any longer, so let's not say Gabba Fortress. It's Gabba open doors, quite frankly. Open doors to a victory for India. So the Gabba is just another venue now. Fortress has been broken.
Yeah, so Chennai is one of India's famous hunting ground because of the spinning track. They usually prepare for the spinners over there. It's a good batting track as well. Ahmedabad is going to be interesting, but I believe if India wins first two matches, it's going to be all different story altogether in Ahmedabad. And it will be very interesting for both the teams how they play in India without crowds. It's a new experience if it's without crowd, because India is used to the home support, home crowd, which is very different compared to rest of the world. So that will be very interesting, Norman.
Although Sunil Gavaskar and Ravi Shashi will make a lot of noise in the stands, they may make up for it. But yes, Ahmedabad is I think is it going to be the first match played at Ahmedabad ever?
On this stadium, yeah.
I think that is
newly built one.
It's like an opening up. So magnificent, great to hear, great to see. Join us, won't you, for that? So I think you've got to go and meet your friend there, aren't you? So you go off, and I'll have all the food.
Sure, no worries.
You
Thank you, guys.
I'm getting rid of him because I want the food. I want the food.
No,
so,
see you there.
so, no, Div, you forgot to come back. Come back.